We're back. It's episode 3 of Broad Street and Beyond. I'm JT. That's Chase, and we're here talking all things Philly, little bit beyond. We got a lot to talk about.
There's
good never,
news. We still don't got good news.
But ever since we started this thing, it's we've had a lot to talk about. None of it's really that great from our perspective, from our fan base here. But we're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about Penn State. We got the Phillies wrapping up their they did their season wrapper. We got the Eagles to talk about. We got some hockey, and we even got some Sixers basketball. So we'll dive into all of that. Chase, I look forward to this each and every week when you give me these 3 questions to get me warmed up. So I'm excited to hear what you got from me.
I gotta say, these are probably my 3 favorite ones that we've had so far here on show number 3. the first one, I'm just getting it out of the way, right out of the gate. Okay. These are the 3 warm up questions for JT. Here's the first. Did you watch the Penn State Northwestern game?
Yes, I did.
Okay. How many times did you scream any curse words at your TV?
4.
There's got to be more than that. I don't believe 4.
4 that I can remember.
Yeah, exactly. I'll ask your wife that question. How long will James Franklin be eating Cheetos on his couch and be out of work for?
Oh, not very long at all. I think he'll be coaching somewhere next season.
Okay. And the third one, final one, real simple. What is your favorite sport to play?
I would have to say that's a good question. I'm not very good at any of them. But right now, my son's really into basketball, and we like to go out and play. So right now, I will say basketball.
Hooping it up.
Could you imagine a 5'2", 5'3" white guy thinking he's good at basketball?
Spud Webb did it. Spud Webb,
yeah. Spud Webb had just a little bit more athletic ability than maybe about that much, but it was still
he's probably got a better vertical than you too, I bet.
A little bit. He can get just a tad higher.
I'm just going to throw you a fourth one here too. Did you watch any of the Philadelphia? Did you watch any of the Philadelphia Union at all this week?
The who?
Philadelphia Union.
No, and you know why? They didn't play. How about that?
Okay, there you go. You got off on that one too easy.
They do play this weekend though. Last match of the regular season. The pitch. They're going to be on the pitch.
The pitch, yes, that's what it's called.
See,
not a field. It's
now
a pitch.
I really know. Now I know what I'm talking about. Now I sound like I know what I'm talking about. All right, so Chase, the last time you and I spoke,
yes,
we were talking about Penn State,
Oof.
And since our last podcast,
nothing's happened.
James Franklin has been fired. He is no longer the head coach of our Penn State Nittany Lions. Actually, I don't know if you saw this, but tomorrow on College Game Day, he's going to give his very first interview since being fired. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, you saw what happened. You saw Pat Kraft came out. They announced on Sunday that he was no longer the coach.
Right.
They canned him, and Pat Kraft came out and met with the media on Monday, along with interim head coach Terry Smith. Your thoughts, obviously, in talking with you. You're not surprised. You wanted him gone after
UCLA.
They lost that game to UCLA. Did they make the right decision?
My opinion. I mean, and I've been hearing it all week. We discussed this a couple days ago. All I've been hearing all this week. Coach Franklin's a good guy. All he does for that community up there at Penn State. I just got to get it off my chest. Okay, that's not why Penn State hired the guy. Yes, it's a bonus to have that at a college football program. You need the elite as a college Division I football coach, especially when you know you're going to Penn State football. You know what the standard is. Terry Smith even said it in the press conference. The standard is the standard. My opinion, he should have been fired after halftime at the UCLA game. It was a long time coming. By far and away, I think Penn State made the absolute right decision. It was a huge payout. They should have never gave him the contract that they gave him. I mean, whoever his agent is, he should be getting at least 75% of that payout that he's going to be getting from Penn State University. But when you're coming to a Division I college football program, this is to win football games, right? That's why these kids are going to the Clemsons of the world. That's why they're going to Texas. That's why they're going to all these bigger schools, because they want to win football games. That is not what James Franklin did. He did not win the games that he was supposed to, and they were not an elite football program, which it should be at Penn State University.
One of the things so I was texting a couple of buddies after the press conference last Monday with Pat Kraft, and I said to one of them, I said, I'm kind of reading the tea leaves here. I don't get the sense that Pat Kraft was a big or is a big James Franklin fan. And not long after that, some stuff starts to come out that apparently, I guess it's been widely reported and now confirmed by multiple sources that this past offseason, after Penn State almost went to the national championship game, they made it to the college football playoff semifinals. James Franklin goes to Pat Kraft and asks for an extension on his current contract. So he got a new contract. He got an extension, I think it was around 2022. So he had multiple years left on his current contract, but I guess he decided, well, now I've got a little cred in almost getting this team to the national championship. So he goes and he asks Pat Kraft for an extension. Pat Kraft reportedly says, not right now. Let's wait and see how this season goes. And then the report is, or the suggestion is, or the rumor, whatever you want to say, is that James Franklin then went above Pat Kraft and went to the administration and maybe even the board of trustees to try to get that contract extension. And naturally, Pat Kraft did not take that too well. And I think there were some lingering feelings that kind of went on to the season. And then you couple that with the fact that James Franklin was talking about at the Big Ten Media Day, how great this team was going to be, how great the coaching staff was. And then we got kind of a rinse and repeat situation. They didn't win the big game. They didn't win the big game against Oregon. And not only did they not win that game, it looks like they let that affect them the next two games and losing to UCLA and Northwestern, who they should have never lost to, in my opinion. And again, I think we talked about this before. You could make the case that if Penn State wins that game against Oregon, we possibly are talking about Penn State right now being undefeated going into this game against Iowa, and James Franklin is still the head coach. That's not what happened. No. They didn't win those games. He's been fired. Terry Smith is the interim coach. So now Penn State's got a game tomorrow night in Iowa City. They're taking on the Iowa Hawkeyes. We said back before this game even started, after all this happened, that this would be a tough game for Penn State. What are your thoughts as Penn State heads to the road tomorrow night to take on the Hawkeyes? 7 o'clock kickoff, by the way.
I do want to say I love the bald head. I mean, I like what you did there. It's James Franklin. I didn't even know you had James Franklin. Look at that.
So, look at that. He's looking over
behind you there. Look at that.
He's looking. He's listening to what we have to say here. So
you can listen all he wants.
Mind your P's and Q's here, buddy.
Listen, I don't think I'm not gonna change my stance from a week ago when we discussed it the last time. They got a redshirt freshman quarterback that's going to be coming into play here, playing in his first game as a starter at a Division I football program. That's got to get it back on track in some sort of way. Terry Smith is good. I like Terry Smith. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Terry Smith as the coach, but I still do not see how this Penn State football team gets another victory this season. I don't see it happening. Every time they go to Iowa plays them tough. It's a night game in Iowa City. It ain't going to happen. They ain't going to beat Iowa tomorrow night. They ain't beating Ohio State. They ain't going to beat Indiana. So that's 3 more losses here in the next 3 weeks for this Penn State and Nittany Lions team. Unless this redshirt freshman quarterback comes out a ball of fire and just throws the ball all over the place, changes the whole scheme, which it could happen. I don't see that it's going to happen for this Penn State football team.
I just need that one more win to get that smash burger out of you. And you know what I'm doing? I'm eyeing up Rutgers at the end of the year, baby. I think they can still beat Rutgers. That's what I'm holding out hope for.
Be too late by then, though. Be too late. I mean, not
too late for me. I'm talking about getting the smash burger.
I'd love
on
to
your
see
dime,
them.
buddy.
Listen, I would love them to get another football win this season, but I just don't. I don't see it happening with what's taking place there unless they And here's a question for you. I mean, are they going to hire a new coach here before the season's over? They're going to let Terry Smith play out the season and are they actually going to give Terry Smith consideration for the football coach at Penn State?
Oh yes, they will. I think
You
they will
think?
absolutely give him consideration. You said consideration.
Yeah, but I don't think they're
Yes.
looking at him like he's going to be the
No, no,
next
no,
Penn
no,
State
no,
football
no.
coach.
He will be considered, but he will not be the
Yeah.
next head coach at Penn State. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll certainly consider him. So switching gears here, we'll stay in football. We'll talk about the Eagles here. So we've got the Birds now coming off two straight losses. They're a little healthier now, so that's good. But they've got the Vikings on Sunday. I guess J.J. McCarthy could be back under center for the Vikings. If not, it could be the Eagles going against their old QB Carson Wentz. I guess the thing to look forward to. I looked at the practice report yesterday. It looks like Quinyon Mitchell, Jordan Davis, Zach Bond, they were all full participants. Landon Dickerson, Jalen Carter, they were limited, so they're going to give it a go. So what are your thoughts here? First, let me ask you this: if they lose this game to the Vikings, are they in big trouble?
Oof. That's a great question. That is an absolute great question. We go back to the last game they played against the Giants. You know, they lost to Denver. I thought they were going to be all right. Thought they easily could beat the New York Football Giants. That didn't happen. I just think, and A.J. Brown, I mean, we've been backtracking on this for the past 2 weeks on this show. A.J. Brown, I think, is starting to be a bit of a cancer in that locker room. Every time a reporter talks to him, it's never a positive thing. He's throwing out these cryptic messages in the locker room and throwing different things out. They don't need that headache right now. I mean, they just need to be a team that is all on board to beat the Minnesota Vikings coming up this weekend. And the offense doesn't look good. Saquon Barkley isn't anywhere near where he was last year. With a lot of those guys back, I think Quinyon Mitchell, getting Jalen Carter back in the mix this week too. I mean, that's going to help them, but they really need to focus on that offense and getting that kick started. Not only with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, even throwing the ball to Jahan Dotson out wide. They got Dallas Goedert involved last week against the Giants in that loss, but I mean, if the Eagles lose this game, where exactly do they go from here? Where do they go?
Well, there's definitely. It's really going to start to feel like 2023 all over
Yeah.
again if they lose this game. That the season's just going to go off the rails. I mean, it's if you look at they've beaten some really good teams so far this year. If you look at kind of where those teams are now, it's hard to believe that again. It's got to be something. It's got to be some kind of chemistry thing in the locker room. Something internal is going on. Whether it's that Patullo is a little overmatched as offensive coordinator. Is it AJ Brown? Is this riff with Jalen Hurts? Is it causing other problems in the locker room? It'll be interesting to see. Now coming up, I guess it's November the 4th is the NFL trade deadline.
Yep.
We'll see if the Eagles make some moves. Now they're not. I haven't really seen any AJ Brown trade rumors. Now that the Eagles are linked to possibly making a play for defensive end Trey Hendrickson with the Bengals. They need a lot of help on the defensive end because they're just not as deep as they were last year, and obviously Nolan Smith being hurt that doesn't help. Jalen Carter is playing, but he's not 100%.
Yeah,
They're also talking about there's Reek Woolen, the cornerback from Seattle, is possibly on the trade block, and maybe that's something that the Eagles maybe they could ship one of their corners. There's talking about maybe Keely Ringo going over to Seattle, and they get Woolen in return. Two kind of cornerbacks that maybe could use a fresh start on different teams. So, we'll see. But man, they're just really. It's really weird to see how out of sync they are.
It's tough to see where it went wrong from last year, to be quite honest with you. I mean, they basically have the same football team back from last season, with the exception of a couple players. I mean, Dylan's now in the backfield, which is, I think, probably another stud running back to counter with Saquon Barkley there in the backfield, and they haven't used him a whole lot. yet in the mix, but the offense is certainly struggling, and not exactly sure where the Eagles will go if they lose this one to Minnesota, especially against Carson Wentz. We can't lose to
Yeah,
Carson
definitely.
Wentz.
So I was also prepared to ask you this question. And that was until the game last night. So I was going to this ties into the Steelers now. I was going to ask you of the current starting quarterbacks in the AFC North, the ones that are playing right now under center, not the quarterbacks that are hurt.
Right.
I was going to ask you, was Aaron Rodgers the best current starting quarterback in the AFC North? Because you've got
As of now,
because you had Joe Burrow's out, Lamar Jackson's out, and Cleveland's always a mess. So I was prepared to ask you that. And then what happens last night? The Steelers lose to the Bengals, and Joe Flacco, of all people,
47 passes he threw.
He outshined Aaron Rodgers, throwing for 342 and 3 touchdowns as Cincy beats Pittsburgh 33-31. So let me now ask you, given that performance, who is the best current starting quarterback in the AFC North? Is it Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers, Cooper Rush,
No.
or Dylan Gabriel?
I can't believe. Did you just say Cooper Rush? You actually put him in there? Get out of here.
Well, he's the starting quarterback for the Ravens right now.
No chance.
Giving you 4 choices.
You know, out of those, Dylan Gabriel didn't look that bad at all last week. I mean, he looked pretty good. I mean, out of the quarter, God, it's so tough. Joe Flacco looked good. I mean, he slinged it last night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But again, that's not saying a whole lot. I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel.
I'm going with Dylan Gabriel.
Okay. Now, obviously, in a perfect world, if everybody's completely healthy, our choices are Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and then whoever, Shedeur Sanders. I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough. Who would you take out of that mix? Who would you take?
Of those 4?
Yeah.
I'd probably say Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. It'd have to be Lamar Jackson or Burrow. I mean, those by far definitely the best 2 that are in that AFC North when they're not hurt.
So the Ravens, they're reeling right now. They're 1-5? At least they get a break. They're not playing this week. But they're,
Cooper Rush isn't the answer. Cooper Rush is not the answer at quarterback. They need to find somebody.
Well, they're biding time. They're hoping that Lamar Jackson comes back sooner than later. But again, I think we talked about this last week. If they're 1-5, unless they go on a huge tear, I don't know.
Not making
the playoffs. Too late for that. Yeah, we'll see. So if they're 1-6, we'll see what happens. But anyway, switching gears now, we're gonna talk a little Phillies. Of course, their season is over. They tonight.
Yeah. Reruns.
They had their season-ending press conference. I think it was Tuesday. Dave Dombrowski met with the media, or was it? Might have been yesterday.
That was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Okay, so not a lot of huge stuff coming out of there. He did announce that Rob Thompson and the entire coaching staff will be back for 2026. He answered some questions. It sounds like, from everything I'm hearing now, there are reports out there that Nick Castellanos is either going to be traded or released.
Sure.
So I forget who it was. Somebody asked him about his thoughts on the type of year that Bryce Harper had. Yeah. And here I'm going to read you Dave Dombrowski's quote, and then I want to get your reaction.
Can you do it in the dull, boring form that he does it in too?
Well, he's stressed out. He's got a lot on his
Mr. Excitement.
Okay, so here we go. So they asked him he was asked his thoughts on the type of season that Bryce Harper had, and where he feels like Bryce Harper is at on his career. And this is what Dave Dombrowski said. He said, quote, "He is still a quality player. He is still an all-star caliber player. He did not have an elite season like he has had in the past. I guess we will only find out if he becomes elite or if he continues to be good. Can he rise to the next level again? I don't really know that answer. He is the one that will dictate that. I don't think he is content with the year he had, and it wasn't a bad year, but when you think of Bryce Harper, you think elite. You're thinking of one of the top 10 players in baseball. I don't think it fit into that category, but he is still a very good player. Your thoughts on what Dave Dombrowski had to say about Bryce Harper?
It's a very cryptic message. I mean, and then after he talked about Bryce Harper that way, he also said about keeping the core intact in the off season as well. So I think it was a cryptic message. I mean, I think it was very truthful because let's be honest, Bryce Harper has not had an elite season in how many seasons now with the Philadelphia Phillies? You know, all that talk before he got to Philadelphia, how he was going to make this huge impact on the team, how many World Series the Phillies are going to win. That has not happened since Bryce Harper has taken the helm there in Philadelphia. He has a no trade clause, so he is literally going to dictate of what he's going to do here in the offseason. By no means are they going to trade Bryce Harper at all with the contract that he has and what he brings to the city, but Dombrowski he was a little vague in what he had said, but I don't think he was far off in what he had said.
I think that he's been battling. I think he's had wrist injury problems. I don't think he's been healthy. I think the elbow isn't 100%, right, even though he had the surgery. I think but I think Bryce Harper is a competitive guy. He wants to win, and if he feels like he can play through it, he's going to play through it. But he's definitely not been the same player. I know Dombrowski said he likes the core of the team, but I really do feel like there's going to be some changes. Yeah. These guys, when they meet with the media, they're not going to tell you a whole lot. He's not going to sit up there and say, well, I thought the core stunk this year and there's going to be some major changes. I don't think you're going to get that anymore. I mean, you can read between the lines at some of the things that he said. I mean, it definitely sounds like that Castellanos is not going to be back. I think they'd like to have Bader back. I think their top priority, I think they definitely want to bring back Kyle Schwarber. Yeah, but again, he's going to command a lot of money as a DH at 33 years old. So, again, there's going to be some teams out there that are going to throw a lot of money at him. I think there's some guys in their system. I think they're looking at Aiden Miller and Justin Crawford and Andrew Painter. I think they want those guys to be on the roster next year and take that next step. So
I'm just not sure when you hear Dombrowski say about the core. Okay, we're talking about Bryce Harper. We're talking about Trey Turner. We're talking about Kyle Schwarber possibly coming back, and maybe Alec Bohm in that core. So they bring that core back. Who are you going to surround them with?
Right.
Who are you going to surround them with to make them better, to make them make it further in the postseason and get to the place they want to get to?
Right, because I think if you say that you're committed to that core of players and you're going to bring that core back and run it back, now you're left to sort of improve around the margins. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the crust on the sandwich. Get another little bat here, a reliever here, maybe another spot starter there. I don't know that that's going to be good enough. I think at some point you've got to start. I don't say you have to completely tear it down, but you have to retool the roster a little bit. When the Phillies were really good in that stretch from 2007 to 2011, when they won 5 division titles in a row, they won the World Series in 2008, went to the World Series in 2009, and were in the mix there those 5 years. I think they held on to that core too long after 2011, and all of a sudden they just dropped off. And then you saw what happened. They were in the doldrums from 2012, where they might have been a little bit above 500, or they were 500 from like 2013 to 2020-ish, maybe even 2021, they were nothing special. Right. They weren't that great. And it wasn't until they brought in Bryce Harper, and then kind of like John Middleton took on a bigger role as far as the ownership goes. They started to spend more money. They brought in Dombrowski, who obviously is a little more aggressive in his roster building. You kind of saw what happened now from 2022 on, but I really feel like they have to find a way to make some changes and retool this thing.
Yeah, the core's not doing the job. I mean, you can be politically correct and say, hey, we're going to keep the core and we're going to keep this core foundation. We're going to surround them with the players. You've said that how many years now? You can't keep the same core if they're not producing, and that's what you've been seeing for the past 2-3 years now from the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, it'll definitely be an interesting offseason to keep an eye on here as we get through the postseason. Your thoughts on the postseason? What do you think? It looks like it's going to be the Dodgers going for a repeat. As we record this, the ALCS is tied
Right.
2 apiece between the Mariners and the Blue Jays. What do you think? Who do you think the Dodgers? Do you think it's going to be the Dodgers? And if so, who do you think they're going to play in the World
I think the
Series?
Blue Jays are going to pull it out. I mean, they've the way they've
Okay.
been raking it in here the past couple of games here, the last 2 games for the Blue Jays. I think they've finally found it here in the postseason. On the other side, I mean, the Dodgers are. There ain't no way the Brewers are going to beat the Dodgers. Fast 3 games for the Milwaukee Brewers. They've scored a whopping 1 run in each of those games. They got the Phillies syndrome right now in the NLCS. The pitching is just too strong from top to bottom. The Dodgers are the better team, and Dodgers Blue Jays. That's what I'm saying.
Well, really makes you wonder now when you see what the Brewers are doing if the Phillies would have been able to, because again, despite the fact that the Phillies lost to the Dodgers in 4, I mean, they were right there. I mean, they won one of the
Right.
games, and the 3 games they lost, they were right there. So it wasn't like they were completely outmatched by the Dodgers. You wonder if they get past LA, would they have had a good shot to beat Milwaukee and possibly get to the World Series? But it didn't happen, and we'll have to wonder all off season what could have
And
been.
usually it's the hot team that's going into the playoffs. Like the Milwaukee Brewers were the hottest team going into the playoffs this
Yeah,
year, and they've fizzled out here as they got into the NLCS big time.
yeah. We'll see what
Yep.
happens. The Dodgers Friday night going for the sweep, and then of course also Friday night Game 5 chases
Go
Toronto
Jays.
Blue Jays. Yeah, he's got the I think he's got a Vegas Golden Knights shirt underneath that.
No, I'll be next.
Anyways, speaking of hockey, let's switch gears now. We'll talk some Flyers, Caps, and Penguins. Flyers, they picked up their first win on Monday night over the Florida Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Played a pretty good game. Florida not quite the same team right now. They've got some
Right.
injuries. The Flyers though lost last night to the Winnipeg Jets. Have you been able to see much of the Flyers here? What do you have anything that jump out at you here in the early going through 4 games with Philly?
Last night was the game that I saw the most this season from the Philadelphia Flyers. They were just flat out outmatched. I mean, the
Yeah.
Winnipeg Jets were just flying up and down the ice, even in the offensive zone. There was no way that the Philadelphia Flyers were going to hang with the Winnipeg Jets in that offensive zone. Turnovers killed the Flyers last night, and ultimately, I mean, they are not at that level. But I think personally, it's a good start for the Philadelphia Flyers. I mean, they did beat, like you said, Florida Panthers. Played a close game against the Carolina Hurricanes too, where they had a goal overturned.
Oh,
There
they
was a
got hosed
huge
in that
goal.
game. Oh, I was so mad
Yeah,
at
it was
that.
terrible, terrible. But
I thought they got hosed. Well, they're playing some young guys. The rookies Jet Luchenko, Nikita Grabenkin. They had some turnovers that really cost the
yeah,
Flyers. Luchenko had a really bad one in the first period that led to a goal. They got it. They were down. I think that's there was a lot of talk. The second goal that Sam Ersson let in. You'd like to see him make that save. That made it 2-0. But the real killer part of that game, though, for the Flyers, I think it was late in the second period. Owen Tippett scored off the rush to make it two
yeah,
to one, and the Flyers looked like they had some momentum. And I think it was less than a minute later they gave up another goal. So then it was 3-1 going into the third, and then Winnipeg got a power play goal, and they've got some real high end talent.
a lot of talent,
So yeah, and their power play is really
really good.
it's fun to watch. So we'll see. Now the Flyers play the Wild coming up on Saturday. Hard to say, but we'll see if they can hang in there. However, the Caps they're looking pretty good. They're off to a 3-1 start. They had the win over the Lightning. I don't know if you saw the former Hershey Bear Alexei Protas is the early leading scorer out of the gate for the Caps. 3 goals. I think a team leading 5 points so far. Boy, he's really blossomed. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah,
we saw him.
yeah.
We saw him play down in Hershey, and he got the call up. And
He wasn't there
man,
for long. He wasn't in
no,
for long.
he was fast tracked to Washington, and he's never looked back.
Yeah, I think the Caps beat the Islanders too. What was that? Was that last weekend that they beat the Islanders?
I
But
think so. I think so.
they're off to
Yeah.
a hot start. I mean, hopefully they can keep it together. Ovechkin. I mean, I don't think Ovechkin's playing to the level that he played as of yet. Last season, still early in the season, man. You just never know with these teams right now of the meshing and the gel of everybody that's coming back, all those new players and stuff. You're seeing it with the Flyers. I think the Flyers are going to be okay down the road this season, but the Capitals are off to a pretty hot start.
Yeah, they're kind of, I think I said on this podcast that I didn't think they were going to be quite as good last year, but I mean they're kind of picking up where they left off last year in the regular season.
Yeah,
Three wins in their first four games, so we'll see if they can keep it going. Penguins, they came out of the gates with two wins and they lost two. Now last night they rebounded nicely with a 4-2 win
the
over
Kings.
the Kings. Crosby and Malkin both scored. Malkin is the leading scorer right now, 6 points out of or actually 7 points, I think. Or he might have had a goal and an assist. Justin Brazeau is their leading goal scorer with 4 points. It's funny, you keep hearing about the Penguins. That they're not going to be very good, and they're transitioning. They're going to a rebuild, but you kind of feel like as long as they still have Crosby and Malkin, they're going to be a pretty competitive team. That they're never going to completely be out of it, but we'll see. Maybe
Yeah, both of them
maybe
scored last
some
night too. Malkin and Crosby.
yeah,
Both of them
maybe
scored too.
maybe some nights they're going to look good, and maybe those guys are just not at the points in their career where they can kind of carry them, for long stretches, and
Sure.
maybe their lack of depth might catch up to them here as the season goes on. We got the Hershey Bears coming up this weekend.
Wait. No Vegas talk? No Vegas?
Who?
No Vegas? Golden Knights talk? Come on, man. They're 3-2 this season. Come on.
We'll get in. We're going to get into another
quit.
time on another podcast. We're going to get into how you, of all people, became a Vegas Golden
That's
Knights
down the
fan.
road.
Considering that they've only been in existence for 7 years.
I got a story. I'll tell you then.
Okay,
I'll
you got in on the ground floor.
I got to prepare my speech.
Okay,
Can't get
all
to it right now.
So the Bears, they started off their season last weekend. They lost two tough games at home to Syracuse. They had the lead, I think, in both games.
2-0.
They were out. I think it was 2-0 in on Saturday.
Both of them.
Ethan Frank got on the board, and then that game fell apart. And then they had a late third period lead on Sunday. Yeah, gave up a late tying goal to Syracuse, and then I think the Crunch won it early in overtime. So the Bears are still looking for win number one as they host Springfield coming up here. I think it's, again, Saturday, Sunday at Giant Center. So hopefully the Bears can shake off those two losses to Syracuse and get a win here for new head coach Derek King.
Yeah, I was at both of those games, and they were like mirror image of each other. I mean, the first period of that first game, kind of evenly matched in the first game against Syracuse. Second game, again, evenly matched first period. Nobody scored. Come out in the second period. The Bears are ball of fire, take the 2-0 lead, eventually go down in those both those games. Ethan Frank was huge. I mean, he had the first two goals in the first game. Now, he got called up by the Capitals today.
Did he really? I missed that.
They ain't even going to have him this coming weekend. But Hershey's power play right now is struggling. I think they're 0 for 8 on the power play right now. They just could not get in the net. You get to the third period, and they almost look like they shut it down in the third period in those first two games where they were playing too conservative, playing for just the lead that they had, not trying to score any of the goals. They had the opportunities in the second game. They had multiple breakaways in the game that they just couldn't convert on, and they'll get it together. I mean, they got a young team, and at some point in time, they'll get it together, but Ethan Frank getting called up for this weekend is not going to be a good start for the Hershey Bears and the Chocolate and White this weekend.
Well, I think we talked about that. It might have been last week where we said, some of these guys that were on Hershey's opening night roster, as soon as something happened with the Caps, Ethan Frank was going to be among the first guys that got called up. And I didn't see what happened. Was there an injury with the Caps already?
I'm not
Is
sure.
That what happened?
They didn't in the transaction. I didn't see anything except that he got called up. That was it.
That he got called up. So so he had 2 goals. Your thoughts? You saw both games. Anybody stand out, impress you at some of the new faces, or anybody look good? Your thoughts on maybe the goaltending in the first 2 games?
They got Graham.
I guess what Clay.
Do you remember Graham Clark? Remember Graham Clark? He's a
Yes.
veteran. He's playing with the
Yeah.
Bears. I mean, he had a pretty good second
Okay.
game. The goalies didn't look. I mean, Stevenson didn't look that bad in the first game up there. He wasn't in net the second game. Um, they'll get it together. They got to mesh. I mean, I think that's probably half the battle up there in Hershey right now. Those guys aren't meshing as of yet. They're not used to playing with those guys, and I mean, even half those guys that were with Hershey that are with them right now were playing with Washington about a week before. Even in that exhibition
Right.
game of the Hershey taking on Washington, half those guys are now with Hershey now on the team. So
Right.
they haven't been able to play solid hockey yet together, and they got to get that power play figured out too. The power play is
Well, they
not very good. Right
yeah,
now.
and I think they have a lot of home games. Don't they have a lot of home games early in the season?
First four,
So I think
first
it would,
four. Yep.
yeah. So I think they really, this is the opportunity to make some hay here before you really kind of get into the grind of the season. We'll see what happens again. Tomorrow night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, Bears home with the Springfield Thunderbirds. I was looking at Springfield's roster, by the way. You remember Cale Kessie?
Oh my. Oh yeah. Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, he's on Springfield's roster.
I didn't even know he was still playing.
Yeah, I always like to
Cale
to
Kessie.
look when
Wow.
when the Bears are playing someone. I always like to look and
Visiting
I
team.
don't remember every former Bear, but sometimes there'll be names that kind of that
Stand
jump
out.
out, and I saw that. Wasn't he was like an enforcer, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah,
Big time
Yeah, he
fighter.
could really.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw him drop a few guys.
I like how you put that though. Enforcer, not a fighter.
Enforcer. No. Just there to, there
the
to keep
peace.
keep everybody on the level. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Lastly, before we wrap up the show, we're going to talk a little Sixers because I'm in control this week.
we
so
have
that
to?
means that means we get to talk Sixers. So the Sixers are going to kick off their season. They got an exhibit or not an exhibit. They got a preseason game tonight. Guess what? Joel Embiid, I believe, is playing.
How
What do
long
you
is
think
he?
of
How
that?
long is he going to play for tonight?
Well, no.
How long is he going to
Hopefully
play for?
Hopefully 10 minutes and get him out of there
Oh, my
because we
goodness,
don't want him
no.
getting hurt. So they play the T-Wolves tonight. They open up the season next Wednesday against the Celtics. So I was looking last night as I was looking over the Sixers schedule. So FanDuel has the over-under win totals for every NBA team going into the season.
You got him at 3.
So I'm going. So I'm going to give here. I'm going to give you the over under for Sixers wins this year according to FanDuel. First off, what do you think it is? Give me a guess. Don't say 3.
No,
It's 10.
more
It's
than
10.
that.
No, I'm just.
I'm
kidding.
going to say it will be 30 to 35.
Okay, actually, the over under is 42 and a half.
All right,
So are you going over or under?
I'm going under.
Okay, I think you can make a case for that because if they stay
Healthy.
relatively healthy,
Yep.
they should soar past 42 wins or maybe upper 40s, maybe 45, 46. If they have the injuries they had last year,
Yeah, no way.
the under is an easy one to take.
Well,
But
the Sixers, they're the team that if Maxey goes down, Embiid goes down, say Drummond goes down, even Paul George, any of those big guys go down, they're done. Like
well, who knows? And who knows what you're going to get out of it? They already came out and said that Paul George is not going to be ready for the season
Right.
opener, but they said he'll be ready to go, and I quote, shortly into the regular season, whatever that means.
it's about 2 months into the regular season, they'll be ready to go, and the Sixers are
That's-
already be so far away from going to the playoffs or anything that they ain't even going to need them. They'll probably end up trading them probably by mid-season.
Oh, you think they're going to trade Paul George? I wouldn't mind that at all. Now, I don't know who you're going to get that would take him because he's making an awful lot of money.
Yeah.
But we'll wait and see. But anyway, Chase, my friend, this has been a blast. It was great. Just want to remind everyone, like, share, subscribe, spread the word about this podcast. We're having a lot of fun doing this. Chase and I love to talk Philly sports and everything. So look for this episode to be posted really soon. Also, we did a chat with Derek Fisher, the former Cedar Crest
Good
grad.
talk. Good talk.
Former World Series champion with the Houston Astros. We had a great conversation with him, and he was really good to talk to. He was really forthcoming. So look for that episode to be up and running here very, very soon. So Chase, that's going to do it for another week of Broad Street and Beyond. We'll do this again next week. Hopefully, we'll have some more positive news to talk about. We'll hopefully have an Eagles win. We're going to talk. Maybe we'll have one where Penn State, they all rallied around Terry Smith and they went in to Kinnick Stadium and they beat those Iowa Hawkeyes. What do you think?
I think I'll be bringing the brown paper bag next week.
Okay. All right.
I'll be bringing it back.
I should quit while I. All right. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a great weekend. All right. Let's stop that.